Hello, I'm David Rotherham. I'm making a little video primarily for the Facebook group Epiphone Les Paul owners, but for anybody else who's interested in the matter of whether tone woods make a difference as well. So you do see some nonsense put around on the internet. I'm coming from the position that they certainly do make a difference, because if you've got a string anchored to a piece of wood and it's transferring vibrations to them, how it transfers the vibrations is going to affect how that string vibrates. But we'll do some practical examples. I've got four basically Les Paul shaped guitars, all of different wooden construction, and we'll see what difference the woods make. First of all, we'll look at unplugged tones. And we'll start off with a Gibson S1. The light's all wrong to catch this, but that's a nice solid alder body. And if we hold it to the mic, it's got quite a rich tone to this, because that's where alder is. It resonates pretty much all across the board. So if you pluck a note, it gives a fairly full tone that with medium sustain. Right, we'll come back to that later when we start playing with the amplifier. The second guitar for examples is a Zematis Les Paul style. This one is solid mahogany body with a light mahogany veneer, and it's got quite a different acoustic sound. And it's got more of an edge, but the top dies away quicker than the bottom, so that there's more of a sustain on the low part of the note than there is on the high part of the note. The Alder S1 does that a little bit, but it's more pronounced on the Zematis. And once again, we'll hear in a minute what difference that makes to the amplified sound. So it's got quite a full tone acoustically, because it's made of prime mahogany. The third guitar we'll compare is an Epiphone Les Paul Standard. This is quite an old one. It's got a lovely flame maple top that a webcam isn't really good enough to pick up the patterning of. And an interesting back. Might be Maranthe, it might be Avia, but I don't believe it's maple. And it's got a different tone altogether. You hear that? Much lighter, but much more sustained. It's not drawing the sound out of the string to the same extent. That's what maple cap Les Pauls do. Can't go so much by the tone on the lower notes, because this one has nickel wound strings, because they run out of my usual Ernie Ball stainless. But the high notes, pretty unplugged, typical unplugged Les Paul, that one. And the final one for comparison is another Epiphone Les Paul Standard. This is a newer Chinese one, and it's definitely mahogany. Seriously heavy, but that's got a lot of sustain to it. You'll hear the difference when we plug this one in. Although the pickups aren't hot, the sound rings forever. So that's just showing some different qualities. So you notice on some of them the upper notes, the upper harmonics die away quicker, leaving a humming sustain, and on some of them they sustain across the board. The next thing to do is to plug in an amplifier, or try them again. Just out of sight of the camera, there is an old Peavey Renown, which is a nice amplifier. As it's plugged in, we'll start with the Zematis first. What does that sound like plugged in? See, it's got that same quality again. The quite a strong attack to the high notes, but it dies away, leaving a more humming low note. It's not just ah, it's ow as it dies away. And why is it doing that? Because of the way the wood is drawing off the higher harmonics first. We heard how it did that, didn't we? One example. Then the first one I showed you was the S1. Remember that had quite a full mellow tone because it was older. This has got light single coil pickup, so it's not as loud. It's picking up the buzz of the light a bit. So it's quite a sort of even sustain. Anyway, that's got quite a different character, a fairly mellow character in spite of having Bill Lorrett single coils on it. So then just to complete the comparison, the two Echophones, which are not massively different. Let's see how that keeps the same tonality throughout the sustain. It wasn't drawing the sound out to the same extent. And so on. That's the sound of that. And then we have the other Epiphone, the Chinese one, the genuine mahogany one, and once again, the lower part of the sustain really goes on. It perhaps loses the highs a little more than the other one, but remember how the unplugged tone was? That we all the highs come off and it doesn't really resonate the low tones at all. So when you amplify it, the highs die away a bit and leave you that singing low again. Which, because it's such a heavy guitar, the whole response is different, so you just play it a different way, but that's another issue perhaps, but maybe it's not, that tone woods do change response and change how you play them. That's one of the reasons why people who understand that they make a difference have different guitars at different tone woods. There we are. So that's just showing how much of a difference it can make. Now you might be sitting there thinking, oh, it all sounds the same to me. Well, perhaps if you listen to enough loud music and sensitivity goes out your ears. I mean, there's Scott Groves, who I sort of like because he's a big fan of S1 guitars and so am I, does this thing on one of his videos where he's trying to show that rosewood and maple fingerboards sound the same. So he goes ding on his maple fingerboard stret and ding on his rosewood fingerboard Paul Stratton and says, see, it's both the same. Well, he's just shown us they're different, but he can't hear it. And maybe those guitars all sounded the same to you. But I can hear the difference. So that's why I have several different guitars of different woods. And that's what it's all about anyway.